Hi, welcome to the future. St. Croix, 2688, and I'm telling you it's great here. Gas is cheap, water's cheap, even electricity is cheap. Bowling scores are way up, mini golf scores are way down. And we have more excellent beaches than any other planet that we communicate with. I'm telling you, this place is great. But it almost wasn't. 700 years ago, the two great ones.
I'm Ethan PWD, Esquire. And I'm Jack. Wait, hold on. Ethan, you take the camera. And I'm Jack Francis. Duggan. Yeah!
Well, they ran into a few problems. So now, I have to travel back in time to help them out. If I should fail to keep them on the correct path, the basis of our society will be in danger. Don't worry, it will all make sense.
I spoke to your principal today, Jack. He said you were failing English. He also said if you fail English, you flunk out of school, Jack. And you know what that means.
That I would have to go to A to Z Academy, sir.
You're right. I spoke to the headmaster this morning, Jack. He's very anxious to meet you.
What do you expect me to do?
He said something about an English project you're supposed to be working on. Something about Paris in the 1920s. You better get moving on it.
We gotta do well in this English project, dude. Why? If not, my dad's gonna send me to AZ Academy.
The horror. The horror.
That guy over there told me that Salvador Dali and Cole Porter lived in the 1920s.
Porter? In Puerto Rico?
Hey, do you know anything about the 1920s?
Sorry, I just work here.
We're in danger of failing most heinously, dude.
Whoa!
Greetings, my excellent friends.
Do you know anything about the 1920s?
Well, perhaps we can go there ourselves. Ethan P.W. Dean, Esquire. Jack F. Duggan. Gentlemen, I'm here to help you with your English project.
What?
How? See this machine? It'll take you to any point in time you wish.
Excellent!
Rufus, you can go anywhere we want and anytime. Gentlemen, you can do whatever you want to do. But remember, you must get to that project. Dude, where are we gonna go?
To Paris in the 1920s, dude.
Bodacious.
Whoa, we're in Paris! Hey, isn't that Cole Porter? Yeah, I think that's Salvador Dali. Excellent! Let's go back him.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
Hey, Daylight.
What is it?
There's a rhinoceros in that room.
Ethan P.W. Dean, Esquire. And Jack F. Duggan.
We've got some living legends from Paris in the 1920s here in my very own room.
We've reached an agreement with these men, and they're gonna do an exclusive once-in-a-lifetime interview. So give it up for Mr. Daylight and Mr. Porter.
Here they are. Dude, take your hand off the camera. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Daylight?
Es Dali. Anyways, how do you veto game? Very fun. I'm starting to like this future. Anyway, I was born May 11th, 1904 in Figueres, Spain. As a child, I was thrown to face of it. My father was middle-class lawyer. He was very strict. He would often punish me for my eccentricities and outbursts, which happened off. Oh, come on! In contrast, my mother always encouraged me to practice art and told me to embrace my eccentricity. When I was 5 years old, my parents took me to the grave of my older brother, who was also named Salvador, and told me that I was like him reincarnated. We resembled each other like two drops of water, but had different reflections. He was probably a first version of myself, but absolutely. In 1916, my parents sent me to drawing school at the Colegio de Hermanos Marito and the Instituto in Spain. Admittedly, I was not the best student. I daydreamed in class, wore strange clothing, and never cut my hair. When I was here, I discovered modern art. In 1921, when I was just 15 years old, my mother, she died of breast cancer. It was very difficult times for me. Shortly thereafter, my father, he married my mother's sister. My father and I still argue over that to this day. In 1922, I enrolled at the Academy de San Fernando in Madrid. I really had a lot of fun there. I even got to become good friends with Louis Buñuel, and I found a bunch of different artistic styles, including metaphysics and cubism. I also learned about Dadaism, which influenced all of my work. Unfortunately, I was expelled in 1926 for some, how do you say, inappropriate conduct. And out of respect for both parties involved, I will not divulge any more information about it. When I got out of that place, I went on my first trip to Paris. I got to meet Picasso, whom I adore, and Jean Miro, who introduced me to Surrealism. While they influenced me greatly, I also give much credit to magnificent artists such as Raphael, Bronzino, Vermeer, and Velázquez. I also grew a fantastic mustache, which I plan to keep. In recent years, I've been experimenting with Surrealism. Here, have a look at this piece I've been working on. I know, it's not much. Hopefully I can get a couple $100 out of it. It's just an early sketch. I hope it can become something famous. I don't know. So for the time being, I'm just enjoying my time in the greatest city in the world, Paris, and hope to someday become famous.
That was excellent, Mr. Daylight. Now, Mr. Porter, would you like to say something?
Well, I'd be happy to tell you a little bit about my life.
Here you go, Mr. Porter.
Move over, Salvador.
I'm going to go get the drink.
All right. So, I was born on June 9th, 1891, in Peru. Peru, Indiana, not Peru in South America. I was the only surviving child, Samuel Fenwick Porter, a druggist by trade, and Kate Porter, daughter of James Omar J.O. Cole, the patriarch of the family and the richest man in Indiana. He built us a home on a little plot of land that the folks in Peru call Westlake Farm. At an early age, I started training in music. I learned the violin at 6, the piano at 8. My mom even helped me write my first opera at 10. She also helped me fake my birth certificate to make me look 2 years younger, because she thought that I may have gotten more success being a younger kid. My father, didn't have a big role in my childhood.
That sounds most bogus.
Well, I will admit that I may have gotten my love for rhyme and meter from him, as he was an amateur poet. Anyways, my grandpa always wanted me to be a lawyer, so he sent me to Worcester Academy in Massachusetts when I was 14. I had a piano there, which helped me make a lot of friends. I did pretty well academically as well, probably because I didn't have these things, and eventually became valedictorian, which earned me a tour of Europe from Gramps. I graduated the academy and entered Yale University, where I majored in English, minored in music, and also studied French. I was a member of Scroll and Key and Delta Kappa Epsilon. I also joined this little club that had started called the Whippin' Poops. It was an a cappella club. I was elected as president of the Yale Glee Club when I was a senior, and I wrote over 300 songs while at Yale, including the football fight song Bulldog and Bingo Eli Yale. As I got to go to New York often, since I was just a short bus ride away in New Haven, and I fell in love with New York City. I really liked the Broadway scene. After I graduated, I went to Harvard Law School. The dean and I, however, both decided that the music school would be a better fit for me, so I switched. We kept this a secret from my grandpa, my mom and I. We both thought that it was a good idea that he didn't know.
Oh, shoot. Sorry, Mr. Porter. Let me get that fixed for you.
Hang on, dude.
Sorry about that, Mr. Porter. Anyways, as you were saying...
Oh yes, where was I? Oh yeah, when I was 24, I had my first song on Broadway, Esmeralda and Hands Up. After that, I produced See America First. Sadly, it was a flop, but I still get to hang around New York City until I was needed for the war in 1918. During the war, I moved to Paris to serve in the French Foreign Legion. I served in North Africa for a while and had a portable piano made so I could carry it on my back and entertain the troops. During this time, I had a luxury apartment in Paris where I threw extravagant parties with much gay and bisexual activity, Italian nobility, cross-dressing international musicians, and a large surplus of recreational drugs.
I must admit, Mr. Porter, those social gatherings did sound like they possessed most excellent qualities.
They quite did, man. Anyways, as I was saying, in 1918 I met Linda Lee Thomas. We shared mutual interests, like travel. We married the next year. It gave me a nice front for my other interests. In 1919, I had my first big hit, Old Fashioned Garden, from Hitchy-Coo. And in 1920, I wrote a bunch of songs for a night out. I continued to live a life of luxury, even after marriage. My home on the Rue Monsieur had platinum wallpaper and chairs upholstered with zebra skin.
I must admit, Mr. Porter, the zebra, it's alright. But there is no animal skin as magnificent as that of the rhinoceros.
I think I would know more about interior design than you would, Salvador. Anyways, throughout the last decade, I've moved between Paris and Italy, where I rent houses with the money I inherited from my grandpa. I continue to throw wild parties, and I also write successful songs for my guests and for the world. A few years ago, I wrote a little ditty called Within the Quota. It was a ballet, and it toured the world with a French dance troupe. I also just finished up with my first return to Broadway with a little musical called Paris. It's been pretty successful.
When the little bluebird, who has never said a word, starts to sing spring, spring. When the little blue bell in the bottom of the dell starts to ring, ding, ding. When the little blue clerk in the middle of his work starts a tune to the moon